But we have both Natasha falling into the arms of Chef Dave, Dangerous Dave, and we have Nat laying down next to Storm. They both just want to complain and bitch. That's what both did. And if I'm Dave or Storm, I'd say, excuse me.
Okay.
I'm no longer seeing your boobs, so go find a fucking therapist.
Okay, all right. Now, I wanted to have this discussion with a little bit more nuance and not as piggish, but do you have any thoughts before we get there? PJ,
I laid it out exactly how it happened.
Welcome aboard. Another brand spanking new episode of Another Below Deck Podcast. My name's Dylan. I'm saddled up next to one real Nicholas Davis.
Ahoy, mateys.
Pat produced the podcast over there behind my glasses.
Good to be here.
Good to be here. We have an end to the creepiness tonight. Couldn't come soon enough. Mm-hmm. But before we get into thoughts, pots, specificity even surrounding the episode, and a chronological breakdown of what happened, we need to hit some public service.
Oh, there's a lot here, Dill. If you don't mind, I'll do the honors.
Yep.
All right, everybody.
I'm not going to yell at our fans tonight, okay? I'm not going to do it.
All right, so we have a new feed, a new show. It's called Bad TV. I need you guys to subscribe. So just pause right now and go over on the Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, whatever, and subscribe to Bad TV. Here's what we're doing over there. We're going to start covering Love is Blind Season 3. We're going to start covering Winter House. So everybody that said they want it, shut up and you better show up and listen to it. I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And we're going to cover the reunions of Housewives. We're giving it all to you.
Yeah.
All of it.
We're kind of turning it into a, I don't know. I'm not going to say their name. I'm going to say our name. I'm going to say it's kind of a mixture of all different reality shows in one show.
It's all that's good about Bad TV.
Exactly. So go subscribe right now, and I'll know if you did it because there's a fucking shit ton of you out there, and if even 1% of you do it, I'll notice it. So go do it now, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What? Yeah, I was talking to them.
Okay.
Patreon.com/Another Podcast Network. The entire Housewives season is there. Tons of below deck content. PMZ, top tier. Ad-free episodes for $10. You guys know what the heck is up. Go there. Love you. Can we get into the show? Oh, go to YouTube. Subscribe. Hit comment, send links. Do it. We love you.
These are seasons of TV we already have on our Patreon.
Yeah, listen to this.
Love is Blind, Season 1 and 2. The Ultimatum, Season 1. Flavor of Love, Season 1. Below Deck Reg, Season 3. Below Deck Sailing, Seasons 1 and 2. Below Deck Down Under, Season 1.
That's
and
crazy.
The Bachelor, Season 16 with Juan Pablo.
Yeah.
There's a lot more there, too. There's like 100 APSs. There's 200 PMZs.
Gosh, and there's the Fight of the Phoenix tier that's $35,000. And if you get it, we'll fuck each other on camera.
37.5.
Hey, let's start the show.
All right, so like I said, the creepiness ends tonight, which I was thrilled about because about halfway through this episode, I was like, all right, enough. I'm going to throw up if I have to see this strange dynamic.
Well, this is a great area over here for a photo shoot.
I kept wanting to call the Coast Guard, but I realized this was filmed nearly a year ago.
I'm excited to talk about that because these are crime-adjacent kind of activities. You know, it's not technically... But we'll get into it. I did, and I realize I'm going first now. I did not think the episode was that great.
Right.
We are winding down to the end of the season. And also, you know, another very, very anticlimactic docking fiasco.
I go pee when that was happened.
Reminded me that we've yet to see home destroyed. The facade of it on the starboard or the left side or the right side keyed by the pizzas. So I'm looking forward to that. But tonight, kind of a dull episode. I'm going to give it about 62 pots.
62 pots. Let me go next. Okay. These are going to be some general thoughts a little bit on the season, but it connects it. It's anchored in this episode.
Nice.
Because it has a lot to do with Reed. Okay.
Love him.
The camera on
Do you love Reed?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No. Okay. The camera occasionally throughout the season passes by that jacuzzi. It's empty. There's no water in it. There's no naked brother or sister teams. That was really weird. No drunken sea rats falling all over themselves while another one sucks down a cig.
Yeah.
No ball of steaks.
Right.
And the worst part is where there was an opportunity to bring on a pussy slayer. The producers chose Reed.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but he's also not the kind of guy that's going to get some twerking and the tatas out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so interesting.
He's more like someone who spawns naps. Bravo. Hit me up if you need a little help casting, filling this out, rounding out the cast.
Are you going to be a C-Rat or are you going to cast the show?
I'm going to help cast. Send me the interview, whatever tapes. I'll go through them, and I definitely, if I saw Reed, I'd be no bueno.
Right, right.
He's a seasoned destroyer.
How many pots?
0.
Okay. Nick.
Yeah, I don't like the slander about my hillbilly cousin Reed.
Right.
He's the man.
Right.
He has some pretty quick puns, and everybody around him are the idiots, and that's what makes him look so stupid.
Yeah.
We're definitely in a run out the clock situation, and I feel like shitty charter guests when we are winding down can sometimes help, but they need to be more combative. They just can't make you feel the ick, which I believe we all had with these fucking weirdos.
1,000%.
I like the one who had to take a shit.
Yeah, with the girl?
Yeah.
I liked most of the girls, except they were being held against their will. 39 pots.
The one that had to take a shit.
Yeah, she excused herself at the table, and the scumbag primary goes, "Oh, I know how that feels. I bet you do. Hey, this would be a great place to take some shots.
Yeah.
Photo shoot.
That motherfucker.
Okay. Let's get into it.
How can I see 3 adult males and know none of them have ever been married or have children? How can I guess that?
Before we jump into these guts, I want to just say quickly, Peacock, figure it the fuck out. I mean, we've talked about this so many times, but, there are simple fixes. Put the recent episode at the top, okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's not Rockets, right?
No.
It's freaking Peacock.
Throws me off every time.
Also, when it's on TV, which I rarely watch on because we're professionals, we watch it with amped up speed, right, on our computers, so we have more control over the stopping and the starting. But when you go down, you all of a sudden just end up in past seasons, and it's like, Peacock, I don't know that Brace for Impact is the latest episode. I don't have good eyes, so please figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, one last note on that. Old Patty was 5 minutes into an episode that was last week's episode when I watched this one.
I know. How many times have I played that freaking... And I know that, like, you guys watch so many episodes, you should know what episode you're on. But the first episode has this very vague kind of welcome to Malta vibe that I don't know. I mean, it could be anything.
Every episode starts with a recap. It could be any episode.
Yeah.
And then when it finishes, they start playing Below Deck Sailing Season 1.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, hey, I'm familiar with Gary, all right? Knock it off. You should add it to my stuff, though. Have you added it to my stuff?
No, I don't want to have to add it to my stuff. They all don't know what's going on. HBO Max has the same problem, but at least they have good content.
Netflix is really a tech company at the end of the day, many say.
And McDonald's is really a lease agency.
Exactly.
So we pick up where we left off at this weird BDSM party and these charter guests who are lewd. The amuse-bouche of this awkward dinner in leather, though, is the bout between 2 heavyweights, Kyle and Natalia. Captain Timeshare walks down.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the level 4 Super Saiyan that she has achieved, that she has climbed to this season, is something to truly be marveled at. Even in her timeshare mode, which is the lowest frequency she occupies, she's crushing it. Time is spent well. She's mending relationships.
Well, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there.
Touch the arms a little too much for me, but
Yeah, Dylan, sure. To you, she looks like Luke Skywalker in The Last of the Jedi, where he's floating like a Buddha above that rock, but not to this podcaster. Sandy says to Kyle, "Don't talk about coworkers to me behind their back." Well, Sandy, if the C-Rats didn't, we wouldn't have a show now, would we? Secondly, Sandy, when you're interviewed by Bravo and asked your thoughts on a crew member that you're probably going to fire in a few moments, and you tell us what you're going to do, it's kind of talking behind their back. I like you, Sandy. Don't screw this up.
I think we all had the same note on the note that she gives to Kyle, which is don't talk about coworkers behind their back. And I was thinking, Sandy, that is 70% of the fun of really any work environment.
100%.
And it's 100% almost of the fun in the C-Rat. work environment.
I mean,
Great
now
minds think alike, you know.
Yeah.
we're getting in the muck though, because do we want her to be a good captain or do we want her to make good television?
I want her to stay the fuck off the show.
So she hears Kyle complaining about Natalia having a cow because he took it upon himself to demote her. And Sandy says, hey, little sass, you got to stop doing that. Now, she says you're a team, and then she asks the question that Fergie asked us so long ago, where is the love?
Oh.
Right? So, meanwhile...
I thought it was going to be
Meanwhile.
it started, but
Yeah.
that's an imperative.
Storm tells us team things.
Well, they're planning for the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but while the extras from Clyde Barker's Hellraisers reveal themselves. Do you know that guy has AIDS?
Clyde Barker?
Clive Barker.
So one of the predators is too tired to make it to dinner, and Dave is having a tough time with this hulking saltfish. So let's get to dinner with these freaks.
Oh, yes.
It is so weird to watch a 60-year-old man in a leather mask go through a wine list with someone. I don't. We just pause for the
Going
mig.
to war.
Well, we're going to war.
He said.
And I'm speaking to this creep. You've made it, dude. You are chartering a yacht. Where is your compass taking you? You look like an anime character, and you're bribing people to spend time with you who don't want to be anywhere near you, let alone have sex with you. You took a wrong turn somewhere. This is really unbecoming behavior.
If there was a gun to my head and I had to say, give me something redeeming about this guy,
Yeah.
it would be
You
that-
would get your fucking head blown off.
No, I am too afraid of death. I would say that I appreciate that he's allowing his freak flag to fly. He has enough of a evidently like fuck you money that he can do this on TV and it's not going to sully any reputation or ruin relationships.
Money runs out.
We'll get
again,
there, yeah.
gun to my head.
Right,
Gun to my head.
Right.
Well,
Otherwise, he's a creep.
Well, Dylan, I know we're going to get to dinner, but I just want to cite an example right there. When Hannah gets up to take a shit, and she ain't coming back, but I think she just wanted to get away from those guys.
Yeah.
Then Diana says, yeah, I'm ready to go to bed, and she tells him, like, hanging out with old guys is kind of weird. I'm 22. I should be hanging out with people my own age, but
Yeah.
thanks for the free trip.
Right.
But which I don't think she fully enjoyed. This is sad.
We'll talk. I have notes
Get
on
married
this
and
later.
have kids.
But yeah, I'm gonna wait. So dinner is
What do you think?
I don't know.
They didn't show you enough. How was the fish cooked?
I don't know. There's burrata. There's some type of salad. And this beautiful salt baked fish. There's a lot of fanfare with the revealing of the fish. I think if we asked Dave how the peeling of the skin and the filleting went, he would say, it was a little off. It's like a really good drummer knows how he's, a little behind beat on stuff. But the audience doesn't really
Dylan,
know.
dumb question.
Stop! Stay right there. I'm going to throw a ride at your face.
Stop. How much does the actual sodium penetrate the fish skin when you're having a piece of that fish there?
I'm not really sure. I'm not too experienced with the salt bake. There's a beautiful, beautiful scene in Chef's Table of Francis Mallman doing this in Patagonia. And I can't remember if he salts the fish or not. I would assume you don't need to salt the fish because there is a permeation that happens. But fucking egg whites and a shit ton of salt. It seems like a whole headache to me. But Sandy thought it was awesome, and so did these guys because they're on fucking Quaaludes they've had since 1982. Like they don't give a shit. So we had a pasta dish that they didn't show. I can't decipher what Natasha calls things. I can't understand it. So I'm a little lost at sea.
I feel bad for you right now.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how many pots to give this
It'd be
meal.
like an entire season with no preference sheet meetings. You
Right,
know?
exactly. And the thing that makes me really upset about this is I can't stand the ignoring of the culinary arts in favor of
Parking a boat.
tying knots and putting Dawn on a slide. What are we doing here?
I'm pretty upset too. I thought I was going to learn a lot more about this salted fish. The whole thing confused me greatly.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint. I mean,
It's not your fault. We didn't even get to see it.
just watch.
I don't even think there was a fish in there.
Watch that thing with Francis Mallman in Patagonia. I love to burn my food. Okay, so I want to talk about the dynamics of this table. You covered it a little bit, Pat, but on display here is the hubris of the rich creep. I don't know why they think this is gonna go any other way. I guess there's like this.
It's sad.
Yeah, there's this hope that they're going to fuck them, but it's like they're repulsed by you. It's so sad because both parties are sad. Like, you're a lonely old guy who can only have people like this in your life via bribing and your wealth, which we know doesn't make people happy. And then we have these young women who are, putting it on red or something and going on this creepy vacation and subjecting themselves to the advances of these fucking soul patch licking creeps.
Well, what's interesting though is
it's disgusting.
They know it's on camera or not. They're not saying like, "Hey, I want to fuck you," but the creepiness is, "Hey, I think that's a good place for a photo shoot." Mm-hmm. That means I'm ready to see your vagina, which I will later beat off to. By the way, do I have a shot? Do I have a shot? Do I have a shot? I paid for this. Do I have a shot?
Yeah.
All right. So here's one thing with old guys, and I talk about, because I'm an old guy, but I'm a reformed douchebag.
I love that.
You get a little too much being the single guy into your 40s. You become deaf and blind to women, specifically younger women, finding you repulsive.
Right.
I one time was at a bar with
personal story.
Yes, his name. Leave him his nameless, but he's an old guy. He's 50. And at the time, I was like 42. And I'm sitting at the bar, and he starts flirting with a girl that's sitting waiting to have her
Just
drink.
call him Pete.
All right, Pete. And he's talking to her. I can read her body language. She hates him.
Yeah.
And her friend whispers in my ear, "I hate to be rude, but can you tell your friend to go away?"
Yeah.
And I just thought the fact that he had a big smile on his face, yucking this girl up, thinking he's working his angle or whatever, and everyone else but him knew that he is a douchebag.
Were you hurt that she thought that you were his friend?
Yeah.
Great question.
I was like, I don't even know that guy.
Great question.
You want to go grab a drink?
Right,
She said
right,
sure,
right.
and we banged all night.
Okay, so TV
Beautiful.
Story didn't
girlfriend
end that way.
is having a tough time, but Kelly Rowland, what's up?
I just wonder if there is a moment. You said the hubris of the creepy rich,
Yeah.
but does he, when he finally retires,
Bags one? Oh, excuse me.
retires to his cabin alone, does he feel despair that he didn't, with all his money, everything at his fingertips, he didn't get laid? Or does he just wake up with the confidence again?
I think it's the former. I think he has crippling emptiness, and then the veneer kind of goes in the drawer, the tear rag comes out, and then in the AM they switch places once again. His sadness rests only to awaken.
Try to conquer again.
Right. Only to awaken in the evening. So, TV girlfriend is having a tough time. Mm-hmm. But it would seem as though Kelly Rowland is back. Kyle heads down and delivers a beautiful, heartfelt apology, mending the seams of our favorite dynamic duo. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the motivation of this remorse now or maybe at the end of the episode, but I do want to say that he does end it the only way he knows how, which is a pointed yet ambiguous threat to her career. Yeah.
Here's what I would say. So let's just call a spade a spade. You painted it pretty well, but we have both Natasha falling into the arms of Chef Dave, Dangerous Dave, right, and we have Nat laying down next to Storm, and they both just want to complain and bitch. That's what both did. And if I'm Dave or Storm, I'd say, excuse me.
Okay.
I'm no longer seeing your boobs, so go find a fucking therapist.
Okay, all right. Now, I wanted to have this discussion with a little bit more nuance and not as piggish, but do you have any thoughts before we get there?
I laid it out exactly how it happened.
He zoomed forward quite a bit.
I just think Storm specifically, Dave, I think has it under control now. Actually, they're both in the same spot.
Tell him to get lost.
They're both sad sacks. Storm really dropped the ball when she said, "We'll talk about it." She just called the shot. She said, "We'll talk about it in bed later," and he was like, okay." He should have been like, "No, I don't think that's a good idea. We decided to go our separate ways."
Yes,
she would have broke down his fucking door.
Well, so listen. Natalia does head back into. Before we move on, I just want to get this point out because I do think that it is important to not make waste of good opportunities to shit on Ursula in human form. Who takes, the sea witch, takes Kyle aside and says, "You have nothing to apologize for." What?
Unbelievable.
He demoted her to the guests. He was being sassy and mean. He has everything to apologize for. And then she says she's not going to get walked all over. It's just...
It's not good leadership.
No, it's terrible leadership. She's seen that the wedge between them has been removed, and she is picking it up and placing it right back where she wanted it.
Get that back in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, really gross shit. So... Let's speak of the...
forgive me for jumping forward.
No. It's fine. It was... Don't worry about it. Of course, it's fine. So, Storm and Dave are in similar positions, right? Mm-hmm. And, I'm going to echo the same sentiment.
Yeah. Kick rocks, baby.
I'm going to echo a similar sentiment, but I do want to break it down a little bit.
Okay.
Because there's kind of a quid pro quo, an exchange of goods between...
And services.
Between... lovers.
Yes.
Right? So, Natalia heads back into Storm's bed to cuddle him and offer no release of tension, be it sexual or otherwise. So, he's going to hurt people, Natalia, if you keep doing this. Men cannot have this kind of clotting. It's not good. We go insane. But she gets into bed and starts complaining about work, and Pat took care of it, so I don't need to say I don't want to sound like too much of a man. But this is, like... between both genders.
Call your girlfriends.
We have to be doing something in return for an open ear to work complaints, which are some of the most menial, wholly personal complaints. Your partner, be it man or woman, does not give a shit about your complaints at work. And once again, Storm's clotting is so it's just not a fair trade.
He may die.
He might die. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but your point remains, though, it's on him. He has to say, hey, no, you're not getting in my bed. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the bunks are falling down because of the voracious lovemaking. All it is cuddling and complaining about work, which is a fairly easy thing to say no to. It's like if somebody kept offering you tuna fish sandwiches, you would go, I'm okay. I'm gonna have a club today. Please.
Two of my biggest turnoffs: bitching and cuddling. Neither equal ejaculating.
See, I think for a short time, bitching, moaning is a fair trade for me pressing my chub up against the little spoon. Yeah. But that doesn't work for more than 3 charters, all right? Otherwise, kick rocks. Is this too much?
No. I'm not sure. So
I thought I said it quite eloquently.
So the speaking of getting walked all over, Dave has fallen into the same trap. C-Rat history about Natasha not interfacing well with other human beings. Don't need that. We know. So next morning, Courtney and Z are having a really lovely time. We get more C-Rat history about Z's family, but I was thinking, why have we not seen Storm talk to his friend once about how he shafted him?
That's right.
There's been no, are you okay? There's been no check-in. It's just full steam ahead. I didn't do anything wrong. I made the right decision. Fucking Leonidas is really letting the Spartans down, I think, here. 100%. So let's get to breakfast and more creepy fucking pictures.
Well, there. Did you hear what Kyle noted finally with these passengers? What he had to say about them?
Yeah, he called the women prostitutes, I think.
Well, he said, and I quote, something fishy's going on here, and it's not the ocean. And I believe he's noting that there might be
I'd like you to.
No.
Maybe?
No. This is going to be clean. Trust me.
Okay.
Because he said it. I think he said that there might be a paid sex
worried.
worker on the boat,
Yeah.
Or one of the girls got some focaccia bread cooking in.
Gonna bleep that.
I do love focaccia, but I think I said it about 12 times that these women are doing real work aboard this boat.
Yeah, and here comes this fuck. It's absolutely disgusting.
I'm just glad. I feel very validated after Kyle said it aloud. So I'm just glad they addressed it.
Yeah.
It needed
finally,
to.
I felt like I was being gaslit this entire
Totally.
charter.
Absolutely. Smash in the head, the gas lamp. So one guy is taking pictures of a young woman while she eats her breakfast, and he says, you need to learn how to do googly eyes. You need to be less confident about being a fucking pedophile adjacent human being on national television. case in point, DePaz Fitness Studios, Jonathan's company. If someone did have an issue with how creepy these men were being, it'd be very easy to, dox them, right? You just go on LinkedIn, you find the guy's company. Or, we're in a capitalist society. You see these people online, and you know that this guy dresses in leather to eat fish and treats young women in a really creepy way. So don't buy supplements from him and don't go to his studio. I guess it's a long-winded way of saying, I don't know why these guys are so comfortable with exposing this side of themselves when they're not Jeff Bezos wealthy.
Maybe they don't know, but you know who might have a little bit behind the story? Nick, you're really good at this. Can we get a hold of Diana, one of the guests on this charter, and have an interview with her?
I tried to find Diana. Her last name's Lee, L-E.
Oh, fuck.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Diana, if you're listening or any friends of hers, hit Nick up. DM his ass.
One of the Smiths of Asia. So, moving on. I'm just so confused by these guys. You think you look cool?
One thing I want to say about them, like doxing themselves, and people may know that it's his studio and he's a big creep. I actually think it might possibly have the opposite effect. And when he got back from charter, he had a full class full of 65-year-old creeps, and they're like, I want one of those.
Yeah, I want one of those. I want to tell young women to keep sleeping on their hair. What? All right. So they plan for more pictures to be taken, and they do thrust while more pictures are taken. One wherein the angle is up and underneath Jonathan's balls. Let's be done with these people, right? Because I'm over it. Back to the deck crew. Courtney's sense of humor is on display. You want to take this away? You're
the dad joke thing with Reed?
You are the one with puns.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just, without skipping a beat, she said, not a lot of stuff aboard this vessel has a home. And he said, isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Given the name of the boat. And Z and Courtney are both dumbasses and they get it. Reed's captain. I want Reed to be captain.
Or maybe they hated puns.
Well, so Decatur looks like he's having a tough time with this new crew. Seems to be an Indiana J kind of hole he's filling here. The girls get ready for fun activities, and once again, we have more Lolita shit from these awesome guys. One guy is on the bow screaming that the point of the water activities is for them to fall into the water so their tops fall off.
Yeah, Eric should be castrated. That was Eric.
I love that you just mentioned this, because here is the note that I have where I know that these are technically not crimes, but getting back to my eugenics streak, literally, can we just get this out of the collective helix? Like, I don't know why this is okay. I guess there's nothing you can do about it. Rich creeps are going to creep, but he should be chemically castrated.
I cracked the code. He's a scumbag, and he normally gets sued for this type of behavior. He's paying not to be sued. He's almost like you're paying for that experience. Like Michael Douglas in The Game. That he's paying for this experience to be able to be the biggest, grossest, misogynist pig that he can be. And because he paid for it and they signed on the dotted fucking line, he gets to do all of it that he wants. It's an experience.
I think that's a terrible take, because depending on how far he goes, I don't think there are any contracts that would permit past a certain threshold of lewd activity. But he seems like he's kind of, just being the right amount of disgusting fucking old flip. All right. So, jet ski gate.
Oh, boy.
Just crazy stuff here, I mean, who has time to talk about what pasta Dave made? Let's talk about how the jet ski hit the side of the boat and nothing happened.
Incident report. Are you going to talk about Storm? Because I have some thoughts on this.
I was going to throw that to Nick, because this is a very King Leonidas moment where he goes up and says we need to file an incident report. But if you want to take it, I mean, it's your guys' bone.
It's up to you, Nick.
I'll just cap off what you're about to say with shut up, Storm.
Okay. Yeah, Storm walks up to report and make an incident report, and Sandy asks, Storm, can you... She told him what happened. He said, do you mind feeling between your legs? He says, okay. And she says, because that's the area that causes all the problems in the world, But check again. Because that's not an incident. It's fucking yachting, you no-nutted turd. Get lost, loser.
Okay.
And shut up, Storm.
I don't think that she said any of that stuff.
What?
I think that you guys wrote that stuff.
No.
It was.
You watched the show on Too Fast to Speed.
That's true. Yeah. So
It was very quick when she motioned for him to grab it between his legs.
She said it twice.
Right.
How are you feeling down there? Okay.
She said that's what the problem is with the world.
It's that area is what's caused all the problems in the world.
Got it. Not wrong. So the show then just goes, fuck it. And does a meanwhile, the likes of which I really haven't seen in some time. I mean, usually they leave it up to us, but they were just like, yeah, we'll just throw some shit up. I mean, they do like the 4-quadrant people getting ready stuff, but they just zipped through a couple hours and we just move on to dinner.
Yep. It's going to be the theme is safari / kiddie party. Meanwhile, Court twerks and on the workers' table where they eat food. Meanwhile, Storm voice apparently annoys his apparent not girlfriend Nat over the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
And then finally we get to dinner, and I can't wait to hear his thoughts because I believe they did show enough food that Dylan will be able to break it down.
Yes.
I can't imagine how Reed would ever get the idea that Courtney has confidence in her posterior. When he comes down, she's twerking on the Lazy Susan.
Right.
Well, she's a narcissist.
We'll talk about that later. So let's get to dinner. Eric the Creep talks about being floppy, which is like, stop with your gross entendres. I don't know if you have to say double entendre every time or if entendre's enough, but whatever. He's talking about his fucking dick, and it's disgusting. And then he says he likes Natasha's ears. Hey, buddy, easy. She didn't fly out from fucking San Diego or wherever you walk around in flip-flops.
To pretend like she can tolerate you.
Leave people alone. So, Dave is in a good space. He's blowtorching fish and getting ready to put out butternut squash puree, asparagus, and said fish with citrus hollandaise. Now, remember, hollandaise is a very important sauce to us as a podcast, and it's a very important sauce to the culinary arts. Hollandaise is one of the 5, what, Nick? Mother sauces. And if they are, kind of Mount Rushmore kind of deities, they're too important to be relegated to brunch. So I'm very, very happy that Dave utilized the magnificence and the silkiness of one of the 5 mother sauces in the evening time.
Can I try?
I love having an omelet for dinner.
Can I give a shot at this?
Yeah.
So we got hollandaise, hot, ketchup, ranch,
Sweet Baby Ray's.
and Chick-fil-A.
No, it's Sweet Baby
Oh,
Ray's.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
So the milk tart is dropped, rich, fidelity to the theme as well. Dare I say 82 pots. But back to the fish. Excuse me. But we've got back-to-back fish. Not in my mouth. Not in my mouth. But there is technique up the wazoo this evening. I was very applauding Dave. So let's get back to Reed. We spoke of the horrors of Decatur last week, but we need not go over the news this week because I did a Goog again, and it is too sad.
But I do have to say, errors and omissions. I posited and that it was Decatur that Ludacris was talking about, but Ludacris is from Atlanta, Georgia. Evidently, there's a Decatur, Georgia, and there's a different Decatur.
Lots
Alabama.
of Decaturs.
Yeah,
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so I didn't know that.
I did.
You thought there was just one city in America named Decatur?
I would have said in the area.
Yeah.
That made sense. For Ludacris, I would have guessed there was.
I can't believe you didn't know that. So Natasha bitches about Nat again, and we wake for the next day. Storm gives some great notes on docking and lines, and Eric wakes up looking like he's fresh as a reanimated daisy. The guy walks out like Weekend at Bernie's. His hair's all fucked up. His sunglasses are askew. Again, the hubris of the rich creep. There's all this tension about new team and new lines and docking and starboard wings, and they dock. I can't do this anymore. Bravo, come on. So goodbye, guests. We end with one blast creepy comment. There's room in my suitcase. Vomit. And with that shirt and those shades, I'm thinking bad tipper.
Oh, you'd be very wrong, wouldn't you now?
Pat, take it away.
Biggest tip, not in charter this season. I believe in charter
People
history.
always correct us on this. We've been watching for
5 years.
Yeah, a long time. So that's where BC ends and AD begins for us. So you leave us alone.
27.5.
Yeah.
That's $2,500. Nude photo shoots be damned. I could tolerate all that bullshit of these charter guests.
Well, that's what makes me so sad, because the power of
Money.
Mother Fiat is on display here. I mean, the good old pious boy himself goes, listen, I thought I was witnessing a crime the entire time, but he paid me $2,500.
I didn't see a fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my fucking mouth
shut.
God, it's so sad. You can just buy your way out of anything. So Sandy says, turn the boat around and you can drink all you want. Mm-hmm. Sandy, be careful. You can't tell Sea Reds that, okay? We get to a meanwhile next.
Meanwhile?
Kyle and Natalia have a little dust up.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to Reed being from Decatur.
And also, I guess, a student of Sigmund Freud or something. Is that right? He starts diagnosing her.
Yeah, a lot of psychoanalysts love mythology. But this is a tricky thing, and I want to go through this really quickly, and I know that it's complicated because
weird interaction.
It's a weird interaction. Is there some redemption in his remorse? We'll talk about it. So they're doing a little sea rat work, right? And Courtney says, do you fancy anybody on the boat besides me? Harmless throwaway line. But this really triggers Reed in a flustered kind of religious serial killer kind of way. And speaking of Greek mythology, I think the reason why that triggered him so much is because he has a bit of an Oedipal problem. I think he loves his mom a little bit too much, and it kind of like weaned off the teat at 4 kind of vibes I'm getting from him. But Courtney's joking insinuation sends him into a little Greek history lesson of his own. And I thought that he was joking at first. I
still do.
Well, it was a little.
I thought he was joking at first, but then he starts to kind of, I don't know.
He explained his reasoning for his diagnosis.
He continues to teach Courtney a thing or two and belittle her all the way down the stairs. Something, I don't know what happened in his brain, but that really, really, it triggered him. He kind of like softly jumped at her.
The wife said about Courtney, because Cherie's mean. She was like, gee, why does it bother us so much unless it hit a spot there? Like,
sure he is, man. Yeah.
I think this guy just backs himself into a corner, and he talks and he just continues to make it worse. Like Sandy, just when he called her a man, she was just like, it's fine. Had he been allowed to talk, he would have just been like, well, you're just standing so broad-shouldered and you're so mannish. That's why I said it, but I know you're a woman.
You remind me of Hercules. Sorry, that's a hero of mine. A male hero of mine is what you remind me of.
You gotta just cut him off, and he just kept talking. He's like, well, maybe not your interior, but your exterior, but your posterior. She didn't even know what posterior meant. He talks to you about your ass because you're twerking all the time.
Right.
I really think he's harmless, and he felt so fucking
Of course he's harmless.
So bad.
Of course he's harmless.
Well,
it's just,
so she has body image problems.
He said she's gonna kill him. Or he's gonna kill her.
The world, what?
You said he's gonna use some weird psycho. I don't know what the term you used.
Yeah, he gave me like a
church kid.
Pious serial killer kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
Harmless joke from me too. So she has body image problems. The world puts a lot of pressure on women. But Court, you've been twerking all the time, and you seem confident. So I would take your own advice and be careful what you say to people. But you can't live life like that, you got to be able to just be yourself.
I want to go back to be able to rib people, that you kind of only known for a couple of days.
Oh God,
And Z and her like welcome this type of banter. I don't like when people, and this sometimes happens in our Patreon comments, they have arbitrary lines with what they're okay with. If you're willing to give it, you got to be able to take it.
100%. 100%. Well, I think they both had lapses here, but he was really remorseful about his strange outburst. Crappy situation, but definitely to read. I don't know. You'll be in more big cities. You'll be interacting with higher concentrations of people. You'll get better. But this
or worse.
Okay.
I do want to say this though. I don't know if this was at dinner or not, but one of the times he's apologizing, he flips from Sigmund Freud to fucking Tony Robbins. With, the love yourself because you're you and blah 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 da.
And then when Natalia and Kyle are fighting, he's like, Guys, you don't know them.
Who are
Just
you?
let
Get outta
them
here.
fight. Let him throw the fucking martini glass at her. We're trying to fucking make
Watch a
reality
show here,
television,
man.
all right?
And then Reed yelled at someone who came to his conference and said, "It's your fault you're divorced. Figure it out."
Speaking of this Kyle and Tosh ganging up on Nat situation, the issue with the desire to take notes on this and cover it is that we're going to see it shot for shot at the beginning of next week.
Yeah.
So I figure, unless we got any specifics, let's just hit TBC and let's get to next week.
I'm there.
Jump in the iTunes ratings reviews. I don't know what's going on with my chest. Join us for Bad TV. What a great show.
Yeah, people, you guys are going to really enjoy it because we're not just covering one show on that feed. We're mixing it up.
All the winter houses, all the stuff, all the Love is Blinds, the Housewives reunion. It's going to be a blast. Join us on Patreon for lots of additional content. And join us on YouTube. Subscribe. Hit the smashies. We love you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. We'll see you next week. I'm Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
Bon voyage.
Pat, say goodbye.
Permission, leave the boat.